Welcome to Illuminating Catholics, podcast of the Diocese of Sioux City. I'm Dawn Prosser, Director of Communications for the Diocese. Together with Carmen Bauer of the Faith Formation Office, we will shed light upon topics of faith in the modern church. Our guests include Catholic clergy, religious sisters, and other experts in their fields to help us understand what's happening in the church today. We will explore issues, even the tough ones, and to find answers to common questions about Catholicism. Thank you for joining us for today's Illuminating Catholics, shedding light to understand the modern church. Welcome back to the Illuminating Catholics podcast. I'm Dawn Prosser, Director of Communications for the Diocese of Sioux City.
And I am Carmen Bauer, the Director of Faith Formation.
Thank you so much for joining us for another episode, and we do encourage you to subscribe if you haven't already so you don't miss any. But I do want to say thanks to everyone that's going back and picking up episodes. We see that in our analytics. It's pretty exciting, and special shout out to Alyssa in Storm Lake, who's looking forward to this particular episode. So we have a special guest with us today, Maria Ruiz Scaperlanda of the Archdiocese of Oklahoma City. She's promoter of the canonization cause for Blessed Stanley Rother. She is also an award-winning Catholic author and journalist whose books have explored the lives of saints, missionaries, and other inspiring figures of faith. She is the author of The Shepherd Who Didn't Run, Blessed Stanley Rother, Martyr from Oklahoma, a widely praised biography of our first American-born priest recognized as a martyr by the Catholic Church. So later this month, in fact, just in a couple weeks, a documentary is going to be released in English and Spanish in theaters, and Maria is going to share more information with us. So a huge welcome, Maria, for making this work in your schedule. We're just really excited to have you come in and talk about Father Rother.
Oh, I'm delighted to be here with you. Thank you.
Very exciting. We were saying before we started recording, we've got a group of parishioners from Divine Mercy Parish of Kossuth County, West Bend, that were just, I think they're coming back today from Guatemala, and we're visiting Father Rother's shrine. And I know we had seminarians there in June. So it's, and we have a lot of Guatemalan parishioners in our diocese. So really excited to have you here.
That's pretty awesome.
Yes, it seems like he's one of those names you bring up and all of a sudden people start to share their own personal connections to him and how they find him to be so fascinating and just such a strong witness of faith. So as we get started here, for those who may not know his story, Maria, would you be able to share some details and some highlights for us?
I would love to. Stanley Rother was the oldest in a family of farmers in Okarche, Oklahoma. The town is kind of still like it was when Father Stan was there. His family still farms the land. Their life centered on farming and faith and family. And his life was a pretty simple, ordinary life until he decided that he was going to tell his family he was ready to go to seminary. He felt the call. So he was at a Sunday dinner. He told his mom and dad that this is what he felt called to do. And his sister also said, well, I feel called to the religious life and I will be leaving also. So all of a sudden their family had lost their two top oldest people in the family. And his brother Tom used to joke, they left all their work to me, because there's a lot to be done in a farm, as y'all would know up there too. So he was a diocesan priest from Archdiocese of Oklahoma City. I think that makes him a little unusual. A lot of times missionaries are from order communities, but was in the Oklahoma mission to Santiago Atitlan, Guatemala. The mission started roughly around the time he was ordained. And so he did some ministry here for about 5 years and then went to Guatemala. And he was there until his martyrdom in 1981. There's so many things to note about him, but one thing that I find very endearing is that he flunked out of his first year of theology in San Antonio, had to be sent home, and had a note to say to the bishop he needs to consider another vocation. He's just not going to cut it. And it really came down to the fact he had a really hard time with Latin, and all the textbooks at the time were in Latin. So Bishop found him a second seminary, and he completed the studies in Mount St. Mary's in Emmitsburg, Maryland, a long way from Oklahoma and Okarchi. What's remarkable to me is that then when he went to Santiago Atitlan, he not only learned Spanish, but he also learned a very difficult language called Zutuhil, only spoken in 2 villages around that Lake Atitlan and nowhere else in the world. It is like nothing I've ever heard before. And he was able to do this, and I kind of joke that was probably his first miracle. God let him have the grace to be able to learn it, and I think it came out of the desire of his heart to really be a pastor, a shepherd for the people there. How's that for starters?
That's awesome.
Yes, and I hope that people are able to do even more research and read more about him, and this can spark some curiosity for those who are unfamiliar. And speaking of which, you are the author of The Shepherd Who Didn't Run,
Yes.
a biography. And can you tell us a little bit about this project? Is it one that you had been seeking to do, or were you approached by the Archdiocese?
I've written in the Catholic press all my adult life, but mostly started with articles and columns and things like that. Eventually started in 2 books, and I have a few of them, and they seem to always come back to names that maybe people haven't heard, but who are serving their Catholic faith community in special ways. And I do have a couple of books on Mary, so I know we've heard of her.
Yes.
I think the one for Stanley Rother is extra special to me because I was commissioned to write the book, but it's become so much more than a book. This is not just a book project anymore. And this year, Archbishop Coakley asked me if I would start heading the costs from here. And so we've been busy, but it is, talk about new territory that I am just having to learn all over. I think the fact that I love him and that he is such a special saint for my life and for the world that we live in, I think that is what's leading my charge. But I do have a lot to learn. We are in the final stage. What we need is a miracle to be able to send his things to Rome and then hopefully become a saint for the Universal Church. So anyone out there who needs a miracle, we need a miracle. So let's talk. If you have something that you're praying for, make sure that you ask the intercession of Stanley Rother.
There you go. So if we're correct, did the canonization process start around 2007? Do we have our dates right?
Not only that, but it ended in 2010.
Okay.
Yeah. It was ended the local phase, and it was sent to Rome in 2010.
Okay.
And then 2011, it really came down to Archbishop Beltran wanted this to be completed and sent off to get the process going before he had to retire. And so there was the shift then from 2010 to 2011, our new Archbishop. And honestly, I met Archbishop Coakley on a pilgrimage to Santiago, right when he had become the new Archbishop here. And we're on a boat crossing the lake and talking about the cause for Father Stan and where his experience with Father Stanley. And he said, we need a biography. And I said, yes, we do. And that's kind of how that conversation started. But like I said, this is so much more than a book project. It's a really special thing to be a part of.
With you being a resident, are you a native of Oklahoma City as well?
No,
Okay.
We moved here many years ago for my husband's work.
Okay.
He taught at the University of Oklahoma law for many years, but he and I are actually Longhorns. We met at the University of Texas as college kids at the Catholic Center there.
Okay. So longtime residents then of Oklahoma City and the Archdiocese. So we're in Iowa. We're in Northwest Iowa.
Yeah.
So, and I cannot remember when I first heard of Father Rother, but was he just kind of well known because that martyrdom, just from the news aspect of it, was he just really well known and people knew about him and his service throughout the years? What's your sense of that?
I think I credit the Catholic school teachers actually with keeping his story going. When I look back now at the history, we moved here maybe a decade after, like 10 years after his martyrdom. And it was the Catholic school teachers that would use his example in various things that they were teaching, pretty much across the board. And so my kids would come home from school and tell me these stories about this guy from here who had died in Guatemala, and that your senses of journalist intrigue get going really fast. I did a few articles on him, but really it was when the cause began, like you said, in 2007, yes, and then ended in 2010. And I helped with the Spanish for that part of it. And then it was after that, Archbishop Coakley is the one that invited me to do the biography.
Great. So, not been involved in a beatification process. Was it, since you're bilingual, were you interviewing people in Guatemala, interviewing people here, lots of paperwork? But in a nutshell?
We had a very special situation because the Archbishop Beltran, he really knew him. He was alive during all of that. He was in Tulsa at the time, the bishop there, when Father Stan was serving as a missionary. I think having people who knew him is still a thing here. I love the fact that he's from Okarchi, middle of the country, flyover country, as they call it. But you guys are probably in the same boat as we are on that. Yeah. I love that, though. I think he would be a wonderful first or second, whatever, saint born in the U.S. We don't have any males, that were born in the U.S. that are American saints. So I think it's a good time for that we have so many causes right now progressing. But we need them. We need saints that are local. We need saints that are contemporary. And we have several of those really up and going right now. Father Stans is special in the sense that he was a martyr for at the Oklahoma mission there in Guatemala, but there's a lot of good men out there being brought up, women too, but I'm saying that we already have American women who are saints. We don't have any that are guys.
Exciting. And you had mentioned just a couple of minutes ago that pray your intention prayers to Father. I can put a little note in the show notes. They can contact us and we can put them in contact with y'all in the Archdiocese. But I can only imagine, and you said the teachers are keeping this alive, the Archdiocese, because obviously a remarkable man in his sacrifice and his faith and dedication to the people in his villages. So this huge beatification mass in 2017, and I know one of our local priests, Father Pat Boehm, went to that beatification mass at Oklahoma City. How excited were people? I mean, can you give us a sense of, I can't imagine.
We had so many people wanting, it was at the convention center, and we had so many people that not everybody could get in because of fire laws.
Oops.
It was a Saturday morning in Oklahoma, and in the fall, so you can imagine what normally is on the TV at that time here. People who didn't get in would go to the local bars around the convention center. And I just love the stories where, can you imagine visiting and you go to the bar and they're watching EWTN, a beatification on the TV channels, and not football on a Saturday morning.
That's awesome.
It was really powerful. I think everybody was energized by that, and it was really beautiful. People from all over, buses, of people would come down. So I'm really hopeful, because I know how many favors are already being granted. He's a great intercessor. I also think that there's going to be that special miracle, the miracle that we need, and that we need to process and do all the things right to send to Rome. We had the postulator actually here for the feast this past July 28th is his feast.
Okay.
And she is very excited about Father Stan also. So I don't know, I just feel like there's a lot of energy into this right now. So I just need to get with it and do my job, I guess, and find this miracle. I know there are out there. So, and really not just here. We have connections in Santiago. And the last time I was there, I was struck by the fact that in the room where he was martyred, there's they still have like the bullet that went through his head and into the ground. And right next to it, people have been leaving notes. So when I was there and was praying at the site and looked at some of the notes, they were notes of thanksgiving. They were not even petitions. So that also energizes the whole thing. It's like, yes, he is active here and there, and it's going to happen.
Well, how incredibly powerful to have been able to visit and to see, and just to see the response of not only the pilgrimage, but the local people who live there and are still so profoundly impacted by his
his love and
him. What a shepherd! What a shepherd he was and is. So something else that is very exciting right now is the upcoming release of American Martyr, the Stanley Rother story is coming out in just a few weeks. So can you tell us a little bit about that? It sounds like it will be released in both English and Spanish.
Have you had a chance to see it yet? Or maybe seen the...
I have seen the trailer.
Okay.
Yes.
It is beautiful. It is so well done. The Lampstand Media, who does these faith stories, they're the ones who did like an introduction into him, an 18-minute thing that was shown at the beatification. And they were very excited when the Archdiocese asked them if they would work on a long, a full-length documentary. And they're just very talented. They have an eye for these things. And honestly, not many of us are going to be at Okarchi and know what that looks like, and then at Santiago Atitlan and see what that looks like. So a film like this is essential because it gives you all the visuals, right, of the people involved, but also the places, because the places formed this man. I love that he was a farmer and he could go there and realize, oh, they are farmers also. And so he would literally get on the ground and talk with them about seeds and process. And God doesn't waste any details. And it's quite obvious that he was the right person to be there then for the folks who were trying to make a living. And we were there to be missionaries to them, but it was really a joint faith effort. The movie, I think, will bring all of that to life. There's a lot of interviews from Guatemala, and you will get to hear the language Zujihil and see what I mean about how different it is. 25th, 26th of August in English and 27th in Spanish. And I'm very excited about the Spanish. We had Martin Sheen be the narrator for the English, and then Father Rafael Capot, who is pretty much on social media everywhere. That's how I know his name. Did the Spanish. He did Martin Sheen's part in Spanish. Martin Sheen, by the way, that was just like a gift from God. He fell in love with Father Stan and contacted us and said, I want to do my part. How can I help with the cost?
Oh.
And he said, you need to do a documentary. And we're like, okay. And then he goes, and if you do one, I will narrate, and that will be my gift. So he did this totally pro bono for us. And he has that very distinct voice, I don't know. He just did a great job. He would take the notes we sent and say, can I put them in my own words? Because he really does get Father Stan, and that's amazing.
I knew I liked Martin Sheen.
See?
I knew I liked that guy.
Yeah, the cinematography just looks stunning. It looks like it'll be beautiful.
It really, really is.
And when you first hear Martin Sheen's voice come on the trailer, that was very surprising to me. I was like, oh, praise God,
You all know that voice, right?
Oh, yeah.
that hopefully that can help drive in more people to watching this film. So can you share a little bit about your involvement in the project? Were you able to kind of help behind the scenes? Were you able to meet some new people that were a part of the larger story of Father Rother?
Yes, I think they came. I don't know how they did this, honestly, but they found photos and videos that I had never seen before. They did a lot of digging, I think. There's one little clip where you see that it's an old, like a Super 8 kind of old movie, and it has a man on a tractor, and it's Stanley Rother doing the tractor in Okarchi with his family. I don't know where they found this, but it's pretty fun, to see that kind of thing. Their interviews in Guatemala are very special, I think. But also the people in Okarchi who had to kind of let him go. There's some very touching things from his cousins. His Father Stan's brother died 2 years ago, but we had previous recordings from the beatification, so he's in there still. I think the movie itself, the documentary film, I got interviewed, but I had nothing to do with the editing or anything like that. I did get to go to Malibu and be there when we did the narration, and it was in Martin Sheen's house in a little thing that he has, the things that I would never in my whole life say, someday this is what I'm going to be doing.
God had other plans.
God's vision is always so much bigger than anything I come up with. But since he was a very natural, very easy to talk to man, but I did have to correct him a couple of times. So kind of fun.
So we can't wait. I have my tickets. They are purchased. We are good to go. We're going on the 26th. We'll put in the show notes, of course, how to find where. I mean, some people may not be in a community that has the film showing, but they can look that
the last
up.
count I heard, it's over 1,000 theaters.
Okay.
And you can go online and do it by city or nearby or whatever. It shows you where they're going to be playing.
Yeah, I think it even I live in Sioux City, and it was able to point out even some in Sioux Falls and Omaha and all that and so forth.
Yeah, that's excellent.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. So pretty excited about that, and I'm also really excited that the film is in Spanish as well. We have many thousands of Spanish speakers from lots of countries, including Guatemala. And if viewing this film isn't enough, you can also go to the Archdiocese and learn more about Blessed Stanley Rother and understand that there's a shrine they can visit in his hometown, Okarchi, right? Didn't
perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah, and we get pilgrims from everywhere. The shrine is right on I-35, Interstate 35, which crosses our state, north-south. But it's like you could not miss it. It's huge and it's beautiful. And it just is a very, very special place. And his body is there in the small chapel behind the main altar. Also, one thing that I wanted to say was that when Father Stan died, the people did not want his body to leave. They really wanted to have him there. The family said, no, he's going to come back to Oklahoma. And then they asked if his heart could remain there. And as a mom, I cannot even begin to understand that kind of question. But his family knew that Father Stan had literally already given his heart to them. So I see it as a very beautiful thing, and it's there in the altar of their church. And when the beatification happened and you have to exhume the body, they also exhumed the heart and blood that they had there, and it had not coagulated. So wow. I took that as a very good sign that we're in the right track.
Wow. That's amazing. So I actually think that I'll be able to see the shrine. Our Catholic Media Association, hi guys, we're having our conference there next year, and we had a little video.
Yes, I'm excited for y'all too.
Archbishop Coakley saying, hey, we're going to take you to the shrine. So pretty excited about that. And how far away is Okarchi
You'll have to take Carmen with you.
Yeah, Carmen.
I'll climb right in.
She's a fellow award-winning podcaster.
Yeah. Oh, I would love to go sometime. It would be quite the opportunity. One of our coworkers at the diocese has quite a devotion to him, and she visited in recent years and has encouraged us all to attend as well.
When you come, I'll give you a tour myself.
All right. Take you up on that.
You were going to ask me how far is what?
Oh, how far is Okarchi from Oklahoma City, roughly?
So Okarchi's just northwest of Oklahoma City, not far at all. I would say from there to the shrine, which is on the south side, I would say maybe 45 minutes.
Oh, that's nothing.
Yeah,
easy to do both.
In our part of the world, that's definitely nothing.
Yeah, that's good to know. I guess
and
I never knew.
That church is, my husband and I just went to Spanish Mass there yesterday. And any given Sunday, you show up, especially at the Spanish Mass, and it's standing room only. And it's a 2,000-seat church. So it's a beautiful thing to see that it's not just the building, that shrine is a living entity, and that's how Father Stan would have liked it, Oh,
that's fascinating. So thought I would ask you if you want to give any final thoughts, inviting listeners to see the documentary and, of course, visit if they'd like to, if you have any final thoughts for us.
So yes, thank you. And thank you, by the way, for wanting to chat with me today. I would say two things. Everyone out there listening has something that they would like to bring to God with a special petition. You're in need of a miracle. We are in need of a miracle. Look to Father Stan and ask for his intercession. And that's how this is going to progress and make him available to everyone. The last thing I wanted to really say is the quote that is his signature phrase. And I'm going to do a little bit before because it's from a letter. And he said, "If it is my destiny that I should give my life here, then so be it. The shepherd cannot run at the first sign of danger." And he lived that. He believed that he could be a sign of God's love for them, and he lived it with his whole life and then with his martyrdom. And most of us are not going to be asked to give our life in that way, but we can follow the example of someone who kept saying yes to God every step of the way, because that's what we're called to do for our own holiness, right?
Right. Would you want to give a short message in Spanish that we could use in different ways to our Spanish speakers?
Muy bien, por supuesto. No dejen de rezar al Beato Stanley Rother. Es un amigo especial que nos puede llevar a Dios y traernos más cerca de Dios. Recen por el milagro y pídanle un milagro.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Our Spanish speakers will appreciate that. I think that's our first soundbite in Spanish for the podcast, too. So you're making records here. Thank you.
Anytime.
Well, thank you so much, Maria, for joining us today from Oklahoma City and for your time in sharing the story of Blessed Stanley Rother with us, for sharing information about his biography and the upcoming film, and just for all of those years now that you've spent doing that hidden work that might not always be seen. So thank you so much for doing that for the sake of the church.
Well, thank you. That's very kind. I do feel honored to be his biographer, and he's just a good friend now, you know? I want everyone to get to know him because he is going to help all of us get to heaven.
And for those who are able to attend the film, the American Martyr documentary, it's opening in select theaters in English on August 25th and 26th, and in Spanish on August 27th. And thank you all for listening to today's Illuminating Catholics as we shine a light on Blessed Stanley Rother and the American Martyr documentary. New episodes drop each Tuesday wherever you get your podcasts, the Diocese of Sioux City YouTube channel, or at lumenmedia.org.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Illuminating Catholics, shedding light to understand the modern church. Follow us for more episodes on topics of the Catholic faith. For more diocesan news, visit lumenmedia.org.